Safety. Safety is not just a policy, it is a culture we build every day. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jyoti, and on behalf of KMA Global, it's my pleasure to welcome each one of you for joining us today for this special webinar on occupational health and safety management system as per ISO 45001. Today's webinar is being conducted on the occasion of World Day for Safety and Health at Work, celebrated every year on 28th April to promote awareness about workplace safety, prevention of occupational accidents, and importance of maintaining a healthy working environment. Workplace safety is not just a legal requirement, it is a responsibility and a culture that every organization must build and sustain. A safe workplace is not only protect employees from injuries and health hazards but also improve productivity, employee morale and overall organization performance. Now, I welcome our first speaker, Ms. Megha, to begin the session with an overview of ISO 45001 and help us understand the key requirements and purpose of this standard. Over to you, Megha.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you so much for your warm welcome. Good afternoon to one and all present here, and thank you for joining us on this important World Day for Safety and Health at Work. Let me start with a simple thought. Every day, millions of us leave home for our workplaces, but not all of them reach home safely from their respective workplaces. And then the question arises why such incidents happen when we have the documentation of relevant international standard, or we hold a certificate from an authorized certification body. The answer for such question is actual implementation. Yes, the actual implementation where we fail. Therefore, such incidents happen in any organization. To address such incidents or to minimize them proactively, there is one international standard known as Occupational Health and Safety Requirement, ISO 45001. Let me brief you about ISO 45001 before we move to the main topic of this webinar. Basically, it is an international standard published by International Organization for Standardization, ISO. The main purpose of this standard is to provide safety and health workplace by preventing work-related injuries and ill health by continuously improving occupational health and safety performance. One of the best thing about this standard is that it is applicable to any organization, regardless its size, type, or activity. Whether you are a product industry or a service industry, it is applicable to all because safety is not industry specific, it is people specific. Now let's talk about its key objectives. First, to provide safe and healthy working conditions to the workers and the stakeholders. Second, conduct hazard analysis and risk assessment to reduce occupational health and safety requirement risk. Third, ensure compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. Fourth, promote a proactive safety culture. Last but not the least, continual improvement of occupational health and safety performance. Now, we will talk about its key clauses. Basically, this standard follow a high level structure, which means it can be easily integrated with other management system standard for better results. This standard has 10 clauses. First three clauses are introductory, and from fourth onwards, the main system starts. Now let's talk about each key clauses of this standard. Clause 4, context of the organization, means understanding of organization and a factor that can affect the workplace safety. Recently, in January 2025, there is one amendment is also released in this standard, which states that organization must consider climate change in their context. And the organization should also consider these climate change with the requirements of the interested parties. Clause 5, leadership and worker participation. Focus on top management and worker involvement in safety. Clause 6, planning. Involve identification hazard, assessing risk, and setting safety objectives. Clause 7, support. Provides necessary resource, training, awareness, communication, and proper documentation to support safety. Clause 8, operation, which is the most important part of which is the most important clause of this standard, which focus on implementing control to manage day-to-day risk. Clause 9, performance evaluation, checks performance through monitoring, regular internal audit, and through management review meetings. Last, clause 10, improvement, focus on corrective actions and continual improvement of safety performance. So in simple terms, basically ISO 45000 is not just a standard or a paperwork. It is about creating a healthy and safe environment for the workers and the stakeholders. So this is all about ISO 45001. Thank you once again for joining.
Thank you, Megha. Thank you. Thank you for your insightful presentation. Moving forward, I would like to welcome our subject expert, Mr. Ajay Kumar Bhatnagar, former Senior Director at BIS, who has conducted several management systems audit as a team leader, will walk us through the common challenges in implementation and how to overcome them. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody. Well, this is really, first of all, I must congratulate everyone on this important event on World Health and Safety Day. As you all would be aware that there are many international standards which has been formulated by International Organization for Standardization, that is popularly known as ISO. So they have made n number of standards on various types of management systems. Most popularly known standards are quality management system, environmental management system, occupational health and safety management system. Basically, these three management system standards take care the customer, the environment, and the health and safety of the employees or all those who are visiting that particular premises, which needs to take care about the health and safety. I would like to tell in very short about these three important international standards. QMS, all of you might have heard, it's a quality management system. It's a generic standard, which is, as my colleague Megha has told, that it is applicable to each type of industry, whether it is a service industry or it's a product industry, irrespective of type and size of the organization. This standard is applicable to all type of the industry. Even it is applicable to an individual also. This standard is basically customer focused. So the customer requirement sync with the legal and statutory requirement are decided, identified, and then finalized. And based on that, a policy and objectives are established. And then the implementation part of this QMS is started. The second standard is related to focus to environment, which is ISO 14001 2018. This is focused to environment. So this relates to how to ensure that the all type of the pollution is controlled by various means. You might be knowing that what type of the pollution are there in the entire world. It's a noise pollution, water pollution, air pollution, soil pollution. So these are type of pollution. So how to control them and how to monitor them and how to address them. The third one, which is basically the employee and all all visiting persons who are visiting the premises is regarding the safety and health of all those persons is the Occupational Health and Safety Management System standard. So this is 45001. This is also international standard prepared and published by ISO. This standard, latest standard version is in 2018. We will discuss that how we have to implement this standard and what are the challenges which will come across while implementing these standards, this standard. Before that, I would like to, emphasize on two, three important things. Whatever work, number one, whatever work we are doing in our life, we should know the answer of basically four questions. What is that particular activity? Why that activity is important for us? How that activity can be performed? And who is eligible, who is authorized to do that activity? And the last one is that how to evaluate the effectiveness of the implementation of that activity. How part. Second point, that all these standards and our activity is based on PDCA cycle. PDCA cycle means plan, do, check, act. So whatever activity we are planning first of all, and then we are executing our work as per the planning, and then we have to check. We check that our activity is being performed as per the planning or not, and the gaps which have been found during the checking of our system or our working, those gaps are taken care of by taking the action. And action may be, maybe correction, maybe corrective action, maybe preventive action, maybe risk assessment. So by doing these four tools, that is correction, corrective action, and preventive action, makes you possible for taking action to prevent or to fill those gaps or those non-conformities. So likewise, all these management system standards are also based on PDCA cycle. As my colleague Megha told you about the clauses, various clauses of this ISO 45001. So there are basically 10 clauses. The first three clauses are informative, scope, normative reference, and terms and definition. And the basic structure of the standard starts from clause 4. So from clause 4 to clause 7, they are the clauses of PDCA cycle planning part. And clause 8 is a do part, that is actual implementation part. Clause 9 is check part, C part, PDCA cycle C part, checking part, which as Megha told you that by management review and analysis of data, customer feedback. Based on that, we evaluate the performance of our working. So that is basically clause 9 is a C part. And clause 10, that is improvement, that is a part, action. So action, how we take, as I told you, action we take as per correction, corrective action, preventive action, and risk assessment. So these are four tools in our hand to take action. So this is how all the management system works. Now, we have understood through Megha that what is 45001. So what we could understand. And when Megha told you the objectives, that was the answer of why. Why this occupational health and safety management system standard should be implemented. Now, how part I will discuss. How we can implement it And implementation has been defined in detail in clause 8. So while we are implementing these standards, all these type of standards, the clause 8 is basically operational part, your execution of the work which you have decided as per the planning. So while implementing this standard or you're working as per this standard, there have been some challenges have been faced, which are very important aspect. Why we failed even after following this ISO 45000 all requirements, why do we fail and where we fail? So that we will discuss in 5-10 minutes, that what are the challenges. Yes. The first challenge is which we have observed in a period of about 30 years of my experience, what I have faced, that what are the challenges which come into our way when we implement these international standards. So here we are talking about 45001. The first is lack of top management commitment. I tell you one thing very important, that all these standards are top management driven. So if top management is not interested, this system will never work. So top management commitment, top management interest, top management intentions should be very much clear, and towards the implementation of this health and safety of their own employees and all those persons who are visiting their organization. So we have observed that many times lack of top management commitment has been observed. Now, how to overcome that? It can be overcome, by ensure active involvement and commitment of the top management. How this can be assured? To align our occupational health and safety objectives with its policy. You see, commitment, what is policy? Policy is the overall intention of the management to ensure that how these two important parameters, that is, one is health, another one is safety, is ensured that every employee, every visitor who are visiting to our factory are maintaining good hygiene, and they are safe whenever they do work or they visit our factory. They are in a safe environment. So that can be possible. First of all, the top management has to frame the policy, and the objectives are derived from policy. Policy, I told you, intention, and how to fulfill your intentions. You have to establish the objectives. Your objective should be SMART. SMART means they should be specific, measurable, realistic, and achievable, and time bound. So this is the SMART objective. Measurable is most important, because the objective which cannot be measured is not a quality objective. So it should be specific. So say, for example, I can give you the example that what is the SMART objective. Suppose I say that I will reduce the customer complaints in the next financial year. So it is not a SMART objective, because we have not told that how much percent I will reduce. So I will have to mention that I will reduce customer complaints by 5% every year. So this is a SMART objective, that it is specific. I am talking about complaint. It is measurable, because it is, I have mentioned 5% I will reduce. So it can be measured. It is achievable, because I know that I can reduce by 5%. It is realistic, because I know that I can reduce 5% and more than 5% may not be real. So I have fixed up after doing a lot of homework. And then it is time bound also because I am saying that I will reduce 5% within 1 year. So I have fixed up the time. So this is the one example of smart objectives. So we have to align our objective with the OHSN policy. Then we have to conduct leadership awareness programs also. There are so many tools which makes a leader more popular, more realistic, and all leadership qualities which should be in a leader can be developed through awareness programs. So this is how we can overcome this challenge of lack of top management commitments. Yes. Now the second challenge is inadequate hazard identification and risk assessment. You see in this particular standard, OHSMS, this is one of the most important parameter, that is because this is directly related to the safety and hygiene of the employees. So how it will start, first of all, from identification. There are basically 4 steps to address any hazard in our company. The first step is identification of hazard. Second step is categorization of hazard. Categorization means how serious it is, that how frequent it is happening. And then we have to calculate the level of risk, whether it is high risk or moderate risk or low risk. And based on that, we have to develop the action plan, that how we will mitigate that risk or how we will mitigate the that particular, or to eliminate or to mitigate or to avoid that or to transfer that. So we have to the action plan according to the seriousness of that particular risk which is possible from that particular hazard. And then the last point, which is most important, then to see the effectiveness of that action which we have taken. Why I take it important? Because if our action is not effective, then our entire money, entire time will go waste. I will give you one example. Suppose to mitigate one risk which is developed by one hazard, I take action which requires 5 working days and which requires 2 lakhs of rupees. I take that action to mitigate or to eliminate that hazard. And after that, I see that that particular situation is not mitigated, is not removed, then my entire time and entire money went waste. It clearly means that whatever action I have taken was not effective, was not correct. That is why whatever action we should plan, it should be effective, and evaluation of the effectiveness is very, very important. So how we can face this challenge? Use structured risk assessment method, which I told you just now. There is an international standard, ISO 31000, on this guidelines on risk assessment management. So you can refer that standard while identifying, while doing the HERA analysis. HERA means hazard identification and risk assessment. So whenever you are doing this analysis, you can refer this ISO 31000 and you can do that risk assessment. Obtain feedback suggestions from all level of employees. That is also very important. When you are identifying your employees, your bottom level of workers and the middle level management, top level management, based on their suggestion, feedback, you can identify the hazards, you can categorize the risk, and based on the risk category, you can prepare your action plan and then see the effectiveness, evaluation of the effectiveness of the action plan. Regularly update hazard register, because hazard identification is a dynamic process. Today, there may be one hazard which you have addressed and you have mitigated that. So that hazard can be eliminated also. But tomorrow there may be some another type of hazard, another type of happenings. So it's a dynamic process. So you have to regularly review your existing hazard analysis and update the hazard register. Yes. Now the third one is inefficient fire safety measures and inadequate emergency preparedness plan. This is very important. One of the most important thing that many times I have seen that inadequate fire safety measures are there. Means, or if even if they are there, they are not working efficiently or properly. So therefore, there should be a very exhaustive exercise that proper firefighting equipments like fire extinguishers, fire hydrant systems, they should be installed at all prominent and vulnerable places, and their maintenance should be on time, like filling of those fire extinguisher, their due date, mentioning the due date and the filling date should be mentioned on that each and every equipment. And there should be a mock drill system also to ensure whether all our firefighting systems, equipments, all they are working. Here the emergency preparedness plan means in case of emergency, how we will prepare ourselves whenever there is an emergency, fire emergency, medical emergency, or any other emergency related to safety and hygiene. How we will prepare, there should be a strong SOP for that, so that we can take immediate action whenever there is an emergency takes place. So for that, what we should do, we have to keep our all equipment very well maintained. The maintenance schedule on each equipment, what is the due date of refilling, what is the due date of the repair, what is the due date of painting. So everything should be mentioned on that particular equipment. If any equipment requires some calibration, what is the date of calibration, what is the next due date of calibration. So all sort of information should be displayed. Firefighting से related जितने भी आपके slogans हैं, that should be prominently displayed at all places in both the languages. जो वहाँ की local language है उसमें भी, और जो आपकी इंग्लिश में भी कर सकते हैं, दो लैंग्वेजेस में सारे नोटिसेस फायर फाइटिंग से रिलेटेड, फायर सेफ्टी से रिलेटेड, हाइजीन से रिलेटेड जितने भी आपके स्लोगन्स हैं, पोस्टर्स हैं, वो जगह जगह आपके लोगों को अवेयरनेस करने के लिए वो होने चाहिए, ताकि कोई भी अगर इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन फायर फाइटिंग की आए तो उसको वो फेस कर सके। इन स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से देयर इज ए फायर safety team also, and the fire safety team leader is the main coordinator to face all these or to overcome all these fire safety issues. So fire safety committee meetings होती हैं इसमें, और उसमें जो है वो issues discuss होते हैं, इसमें mock drills होते हैं। mock drills क्या होते हैं, emergency create की जाती है, डेमो उसका होता है, और कहीं भी कोई इमरजेंसी क्रिएट की जाती है, और फिर ये देखा जाता है कि व्हाट इज द रिएक्शन एंड व्हाट इज द रिस्पॉन्स टाइप ऑफ द रिएक्शन, हाउ मेनी पीपल पार्टिसिपेट इन दैट मॉक ड्रिल, एंड व्हाट वाज द इफेक्टिवनेस एंड एफिशिएंसी एंड रिस्पॉन्सिवनेस What was the responsive? जितना responsive time कम होता है, it means वो उतना ही successful mock drill माना जाता है. तो ये सारी चीजों से हम ओवरकम कर सकते हैं चैलेंजेस को, जो ये चैलेंजेस बता रहे हैं हम आपको. Inefficient fire safety measures and inadequate emergency preparedness plan. This is one of the most important part. इसमें एम्बुलेंस भी आती है. देयर शुड बी नेसेसरीली एम्बुलेंस शुड बी प्रेजेंट. अगर नहीं भी प्रेजेंट है, कोई परचेज नहीं है, तो आउटसोर्स होनी चाहिए, ताकि कोई भी अगर इमरजेंसी आती है और तो उसको उसको उससे हम ओवरकम कर सकें. यस. Untrained safety team and unawareness of team members' roles. That is very rarely seen, but that is also one of the point, one of the challenge which may likely to come when you implement these system standards. And the solution of this challenge is only and only training. Training and fix up the roles and responsibilities. So, first of all, each and every member, including the safety team leader, should be trained, and it should be ensured that each and every person of the team member is competent to handle the situation. Responsibility and roles and responsibilities should be clearly defined, and the safety meeting frequency should be initially increased, maybe once in a month or once in 3 months. When your system, when your this documentation, when your implementation is established, and then you can decrease the frequency from 1 month to 3 months, or from 3 months to 6 months, or to 6 months to yearly. That will depend on the age of your management system. Accordingly, you can change the frequency of safety meetings. So basically, this challenge you can overcome through training by the professional trainers who will train and make the entire team competent. Yes. Low worker participation and awareness. This is very, very, very important. According to me, is impractical. So each and every employee, right from the bottom to the top, should be actively participated, and they should be trained. They should be made aware the importance of hazard analysis, what is the importance of why it should be done, and then they themselves should tell that what is the possible hazard. They should identify that what is the possible hazard in their area of working. So when they will be able to tell you or identify the hazard of their area, they will be able to tell you that how it can be mitigated. So entire exercise, let them do of their area. And they can do only when they will be trained, they will be made aware. So in the end, I would say, any other challenges there, Hina? Hina, is there any more slide? Okay, let me complete this and then I will tell you. Documentation. Okay, yes, next kar do. Next kar do. Documentation and compliance complexity. This is not a very, very important challenge, because this particular challenge is taken care of by certification body. If your documentation is not adequate, or it is complex, so that will be informed to you by the certification body. But suppose you are not going for the certification, you yourself want to implement. In that case, this is a real challenge. Then you should keep your documentation simple to overcome this complexity. Why? Because the simple document is easily understandable. If you will use the more technical language in your documentation, lengthy documentation, it will be random read and it will be very difficult to understand. So the documentation should be in that language and so simple that it is understood, because preparing the documentation and writing the documentation is not important. Important is to ensure that whatever we have written, whatever we have prepared documentation, it is understood by the reader or by the receiver of the documentation. So that is why your documentation should be simple and in that language which could be understood or read by the receiver of the information. And the control is also very important. Control means that which document, you see, the complete documentation you will not give to everybody. So only the relevant portion of the documentation is given to the relevant person. So it can be controlled only when you will give the relevant portion to the relevant persons. So if you will not control, then it will be very difficult. Whenever you are making any changes in the documentation, it will be very difficult for you to inform that change to the relevant person. In short, I want to mention, मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूं कि मान लीजिए आपने सारा का सारा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बनाकर सबको बांट दिए, तो जो जिसके लिए रेलेवेंट है वो उसको उसमें ढूंढेगा और वो जब उसको नहीं मिलेगा तो वो उस डॉक्यूमेंट को साइड में रख देगा। तो इसलिए हमेशा ये बेटर रहता है कि जो जिसके लिए डॉक्यूमेंट नेसेसरी है आप वो डॉक्यूमेंट उसको उतना ही दीजिए। बाकी डॉक्यूमेंट की अगर सॉफ्ट है तो उसको एक्सेस मत दीजिए, उसको एक्सेस उसी पोर्शन की दीजिए, उसी पार्ट की दीजिए जो उसके लिए रेलेवेंट और उसके लिए कंसर्न है। अब कंट्रोल की बात इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है कि मान लीजिए आपने किसी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के किसी पार्ट में कोई चेंज किया, तो वो चेंज आप उस पर्सन को ही देंगे जिसके डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में आपने चेंज किया है। तो कंट्रोल का मतलब ये होता है कि आपको चेंज भी उसी को बताना है जिसके डॉक्यूमेंट में आपने चेंज किया है, आपको सबको बताने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। सो दैट इज व्हाई द कंट्रोल ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, डॉक्यूमेंटेड इंफॉर्मेशन इज इंपॉर्टेंट। आई होप कि आपको इसका मतलब समझ में आ गया होगा, बाद में आप पूछ भी सकते हैं अगर क्लियर ना हो तो। नेक्स्ट क्या है? रेसिस्टेंस टू चेंज। ये एक बहुत कॉमन प्रॉब्लम है। नॉर्मली जो हर लेवल के एम्प्लॉयज जो हैं वो कोई भी नई चीज को एक्सेप्ट करने में थोड़ा सा रेसिस्ट करते हैं। पीपल इवन गिव एग्जांपल कि साहब हमें आप क्या समझा रहे हो, हम 25 साल से काम कर रहे हैं, ये क्या नई चीज आप ले आए। तो इस चीज को ओवरकम करने के लिए आपका कम्युनिकेशन, क्लियर कम्युनिकेशन इन वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेज, जिस लैंग्वेज में वो कंफर्टेबल हैं, रेसिपिएंट ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेशन, उनके साथ आपका इजी कम्युनिकेशन, और आपको उनको जो कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं आपको ये भी इंश्योर करना होता है इस प्रॉब्लम को एड्रेस करने के लिए कि आपकी हर कम्युनिकेशन इज बीइंग प्रॉपरली अंडरस्टूड, और आप उसमें हर लेवल के एम्प्लॉय को इन्वॉल्व कीजिए जैसा मैंने पहले भी बताया, और फ्रीक्वेंट अवेयरनेस और ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम करिए और उनको ये एहसास कराइए, उनको ये रियलाइज कराइए कि व्हाटएवर system we are bringing, it is for your benefit, it is for the benefit of the company, it is for the benefit of the country, it is for the benefit of each and every person, each and every employee who is working in our company and who is visiting our company. So इसलिए इस चेंज को जो रेसिस्ट करते हैं उनको ओवरकम करने के लिए उनको इस चीज को कम करने के लिए हमें ये टूल्स यूज करने चाहिए. फर्स्ट इज कम्युनिकेशन, इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन. इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन का मतलब होता है कि आप उनको उस लैंग्वेज में समझाएं जिसमें वो समझना चाहते हैं, और ये इंश्योर करना भी आपकी जिम्मेदारी है कि जो आपने कम्युनिकेट किया है वो उसने अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया है. और हर लेवल के एम्प्लॉय को आप इन्वॉल्व करें और फ्रीक्वेंट अवेयरनेस और ट्रेनिंग करें. नेक्स्ट, non-compliance of legal and statutory requirement. This is the entire responsibility of the top management. The top management first of all identify that what are the legal and statutory bodies who are applicable to my business. First of all, identification, then to follow their rules and regulation, their applicable requirements, to follow all those legal and statutory requirements they are applicable to that particular company has to be followed necessarily. So for that, you have to maintain a legal register and review the compliance periodically, because their legal and statutory requirement keeps changing. So you have to review the compliance periodically, and in case if it is required, then you can seek the expert requirements. Fine. So next, I think this is the last one. So this is all. You go on the previous slide. So this is all from my side. I know the time is very short. The topic is very important. It requires at least, if you really want to know in detail, in depth about this particular standard, at least 2 days are required. But in short, I have tried to tell you the challenges which an organization may face, and simultaneously we have also tried to tell you that how to overcome on all those challenges. So I hope that it will benefit you all. But in case of you have any very short questions, I'll be glad to answer. Otherwise, I would I just give 1 minute time to everyone if anyone wants to know. I'm not in the town. I'm outside the Delhi NCR. So I'll request you to kindly quickly tell me if you have any question in your mind. Yes, if there is no question, over to Jyoti. Jyoti, you continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time and sharing such valuable insights with us. Now, I would like to welcome our final speaker, Ms. Hina, who will brief us on KMA Global approach and services in OHSMS implementation. Over to you, Hina.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you very much for the introduction, and I'm glad to be part of this webinar. Now, as we have seen, organizations face multiple challenges when implementing ISO 45001, ranging from lack of awareness and resistance to change to documentation complexity and audit readiness. At KMA Global, we don't just identify these gaps, we actually bridge them. We help organizations cross this gap through two key pillars: awareness and training programs and consultancy and implementation support. These act as stepping stones, ensuring a smooth and practical transition from uncertainty to a fully compliant and effective safety management system. Let's start with our training programs, which are designed to build competency step by step across the organization. We follow a structured progressive approach to our core modules. Module 1, it introduces OHSMS fundamentals and builds basic understanding of the standard. Module 2, which provides a basic understanding of ISO 45001 requirements, including its key concepts, objectives, and clauses. Module 3 focuses on practical implementation of standards, risk assessment, documentation, and internal audit skills. Module 4. This is the final step towards excellence, which focuses on advanced implementation, audit preparedness, and ensuring the organization is fully ready for certification. So these modules we ensure safety team members are technically strong with the right skills and expertise because success in ISO 45001 comes when everyone is involved. Alongside training, let me walk you through our consultancy packages. As shown on the screen, we understand that not every organization starts at the same level. Some are just exploring ISO standards, while others are aiming for full certification, long-term sustainability. That's exactly why we have structured our offerings into four progressive packages. Starting with the bronze package, which provides virtual support from gap analysis to assisting applying for certification in certification body. In silver package, in addition to everything included in bronze package, we introduce structured 2-day training and support during certification, audit, and closure of non-conformities virtually. Next, the gold package, we provide complete on-site documentation support and multiple gap analysis, training programs, on-site assistance in closure of non-conformities. Finally, the platinum package. This is a complete end-to-end solution. In addition to everything included in gold package, we also provide post-certification for a period of 3 years, helping you handle service surveillance audits, maintain compliance, update documentation when standards or processes change, and continuously improve your system. What truly sets our approach apart is flexibility. Organizations can choose the level of support based on their current stage, resources, and goals. And at KMA Global, our goal is not just certification, but to help organizations build a culture where safety becomes a core value. Thank you for your time and participation. I hope this provided you with implementation. With that, I hand it back to Jyoti.
Thank you, Hina. Thank you for this informative brief. It is truly said behind every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen the system. As we come to an end of today's session on World Day for Safety and Health at Work, let us remind ourselves that every safe decision we make today protect life tomorrow. Safety is not just a policy or a procedure, it is a mindset, a culture, and a commitment that begins with each one of us. So let us take forward the learning from today's session and continue working towards a workplace where zero harm is not just a goal, but a shared responsibility and a reality. On behalf of our entire team, I would like to thank all the participants for your valuable time, active presence throughout the session. I also extend my sincere gratitude to all our esteemed speakers for sharing their valuable knowledge and practical insights, which truly made this session informative and meaningful. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.